Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're in Fuerteventura, just off the eastern coast, 4 kilometres away from Pozo Negro. We're off to see Poblado de la Atalayita, and I'm sorry if I've butchered the pronunciation of that. So far the roads have been lovely with super smooth tarmac, but that's about to change. Just after the turning, the super smooth tarmac turns into a dirt road, so you really do need to be quite careful and take it steady. It takes about 5 minutes from the turning to the free car park. It seems very quiet around here. It is early February and 10 o'clock in the morning, which might account for it, but then I do find that archaeological sites we generally do have to ourselves, which I do like. I'm not really one for crowds. Here is the interpretation centre, built into the ground so that it doesn't intrude into the landscape. It's free to enter, and you can learn all about the excavations and the artefacts that were found there. Unfortunately, it was closed when we visited. There's no charge to enter the archaeological site either, so let's go and take a look around. The village lies in the Malpaís Grande, the largest lava field in Fuerteventura, and it dates back some 600 years. The village, not the lava flow, obviously. It was built by the Mahos, who are thought to have come from North Africa. It looks like a pretty inhospitable place, so why would anyone want to live here? A lava flow does seem to be a strange place to want to live, but when you think about it, there aren't really many trees on Fuerteventura, but here there's a lot of stone to use for construction. Here we are at the first structure, and it has a marker. No doubt at the interpretation centre there's a map with information about each structure. It would be nice if that was online too. On entering the structure, it's clear that this is a corral used for keeping goats. Apparently these structures were used until relatively recently, and why not? It's in pretty good condition. Next to the corral is structure number 2, which appears to be a reconstructed house. Let's have a look at that. Oh, it has a door, but it does look to be locked. I suppose this is open when the interpretation centre's open. The site covers 45,000 square metres and has apparently 115 structures. They are not all houses, some are corrals for animals and others are for storage of food. The volcano-shaped hill in the distance is the Atalayita, which means watchtower. Here the villagers could keep an eye on the coastline 3 kilometres away. Raiders, who were there to steal their goats or even enslave the population, were a problem. But with enough warning, the Mahos could escape up the valley. They had the advantage of knowing the territory and not being weighed down by heavy armour. And here we are at one of the larger inhabited structures. The living spaces were up to 2 metres across and no more than 1.5 metres high, and built into the ground. The floor level here is possibly higher than it was originally. As you can see looking around, it's quite difficult to see that there are houses here, so a good place to hide your village if you're trying to hide from enemies. The path is obviously a new addition for visitors. The houses are built a little like an igloo, circular with a vaulted ceiling, and no mortar was used. It's incredible that we're allowed to just roam freely around these quite fragile structures. This particular structure is quite impressive. Maybe 1 or 2 of these rooms were for storage. They are quite small, but I suppose they were only used for sleeping or to shelter from the heat or from bad weather. It's hard to believe that this is somewhere that people called home. Life must have been difficult and uncomfortable. We go to sleep on nice memory foam mattresses. A bed here was probably straw and a couple of goat hides. Water is obviously essential for survival, and on Fuerteventura, fresh water sources are rare. But here, just above the village, is a natural spring called the Riche Roche, which apparently still flows today, and it was enough to sustain the population here. When it comes to food, the landscape doesn't look too promising, but the site is just a couple of kilometres from the coast, where it is possible to gather shellfish and to fish. Goats were very important to the Mahos, a source of milk, meat and hides. Next to the lava flow is seasonal pasture, where the goats would graze and the Mohos would plant and harvest barley, beans and seed crops. It's such a pity that the interpretation centre wasn't open. I have lots of questions. But we are going over to Curia in a couple of days' time, and there's the archaeological museum over there, so I'm hoping to see some of the artefacts excavated from here. I will be uploading a video of our visit to the former capital, Curia, and our visit to the archaeological museum. Oh, this is more like a home, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you want to stand in there so I can get some
perspective?
Yeah, some scale.
This home is for taller people.
That's my mad friend Jackie. We were having a whale of a time. What a lovely place. The husbands, however, they look like they're on a school field trip that they didn't sign up to. And here is another corral with Jackie demonstrating how big it is. We spent just over an hour looking around, but really I could have done with a lot longer, especially if the interpretation centre was open. I would also like to have had time to walk up the 90-metre Atalayita to see the view of the site from above and of the coast. I would say it's possible to spend about 2 hours here if you're into archaeology, history and would like to walk up the hill and see the interpretation centre. My husband, who isn't that bothered about such things, put it like this: if you love looking at piles of rocks, you're going to be delighted. Personally, I absolutely loved it, being able to just go around all these little homes, take a peek inside and imagine what life must have been like 600 years ago. It's well worth dropping in to take a look if you're passing by. The site was much larger than I expected, and we had to cut our visit short as we have an appointment at the Verde Aurora Biofarm, which everybody did love. A video review of our visit is also on the channel. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.